Morning, everyone. Joanne invited me up to give the Stewardship Minute. I will promise you it will be more than 1 minute that I will be giving to you. I had an opportunity to test run this at the 8 a.m. service, and so the first thing I'd like to do is offer you grace and peace from the 8 a.m. and from our co-worshipers that we rarely see, but it's actually a wonderful experience to spend time with them as well. And it leads me into the conversation that I want to have with you this morning about community and connection. Because we are a very vibrant parish, and there's a lot of ways that we connect with one another. We connect through music, we connect through service to this church. We have foyers starting up again. And all of this is a way that we live out the gospel and that we live out the command that Christ has given to us to love one another. And it's in these moments of connection that we serve one another and that we're able to support and live out this gospel. But I want to talk about one specific part in which we create connectivity. Yesterday morning, the men's breakfast group had a chance to enjoy one another's company. It's a wonderful group that gets together. There's no set agenda, there's no set menu, and that was pretty evident yesterday morning when we had a lot of quiche and not a whole lot else. But it was something that was started up, I believe, at the end of 2019. It was right before the pandemic. And it came about because there's a lot of research out there about the loneliness of the American male. And it's an opportunity for men to get together and to be able to spend time and really start creating those bonds and those connections. And this church became committed to doing that. And it was a wonderful thing. And from that came a book group, which was very timely because with the pandemic, we were able to utilize the technology in order to keep that connection going and keep a lot of those relationships alive and humming. And so fast forward to now that we're past the pandemic, well, theoretically we're past the pandemic. I know some people still are experiencing symptoms and it's going to be with us for a while. But we've been able to open up the breakfast again. And on any particular Saturday morning that we have it, we have between, I'd say, 10 to 25 men who come together. And it's been a wonderful way to really bolster this community. But for me, it's even more than that. So during the pandemic, some of you know this, and some of you, this may be news, my what would be biological daughter came out as transgender, and he identifies now as a male. And it was a struggle for us and difficult for us to accept. But we learned to grow and be able to come to terms with it and be able to embrace him and love him for that. And it's a very difficult thing for somebody like him in a society where this is not accepted. There's all kinds of resistance and fears around it. And he wanted to be part of a community. He wanted to be able to feel accepted and connected. And so one time there was an invitation to bring in our kids, and I brought Theo. And there was a little bit of nervousness about how he would be accepted. And I think in the grace that this congregation shows and the way that we live out our gospel on a day-to-day basis, he was utterly accepted as part of the group. He was respected for his opinion. He was never judged, and he has loved being part of this congregation because of that. And so first of all, I want to thank all of those who've been part of that experience because it's been utterly meaningful to him and to us as a family as well. And as I reflect upon it, and we've had a number of times where we've had breakfast and a lot of interesting conversation, and he will bring up very interesting topics on occasion. But what has really made me realize is how deeply meaningful this church is to us and why I continue to give my time as a member of the vestry. Paige has given her time as a member of the Altar Guild, why we financially support this congregation, because the work that we do is an expression of the gospel, and it is an expression of love that we have for one another. So I encourage you in this time, as you're thinking about what St. Andrew's means to you and how it has impacted your lives, to think about how what you do impacts everybody else who sits here or sits at the 8 o'clock or sits online and watches us or is impacted by us. Thank you.
And now let us walk in love as Christ loves us and gives himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God.